Hello and thank you for downloading Sporting Witness from the BBC World Service. As English football teams play the third round of the FA Cup, Simon Watts reports on one of the most unlikely victories in the history of the competition, the day tiny Hereford United beat mighty Newcastle.
It's early 1972 and Hereford United are on the brink of one of the greatest giant killings in FA Cup history.
Hereford have done it! Well, what a cup tie. What can you say? Those little boys tell the story so much better.
Hundreds of teenage boys with long hair and Parker jackets rush onto the muddy pitch for the third time.
All hell was let loose. Literally all the little boys, they'd all been sitting on the ground behind the meadow end. They all jumped up. They didn't even have to climb over a fence because they were already on the pitch, as it were. They all raced on.
Everybody's so happy, jumping in the air, and there was a lot of shouting. I can remember that. They were so excited, and we'd all got muddy feet as well because the pitch was in such a condition, terrible condition. And it was no use trying to stop anybody. We'd done a giant killing act, which is never going to be surpassed.
For a club like Hereford United, a knockout competition like the FA Cup means everything. In 1972, Hereford were mainly part-timers, fitting in their football around their day jobs. But they managed to fight their way to the third round. That meant fans like policeman Grenville Smith would see their team play the best professionals in the country.
We're only a very, very small club, a minnow in fact. We would get probably around about, for a local derby, say Worcester or something like that, we may get about 5,000 or 6,000. But we were a good side. We were knocking on the door of getting in the Football League. When we pulled out Newcastle, I was sort of ecstatic about it. I thought, well, we'll certainly give a good account of ourselves. Most of the policemen were football supporters, so there was a lot of excitement in the police station.
When match day came, Grenville Smith was on crowd duty for the biggest game ever played in Hereford.
It was a very cold day, very bleak, but all around the ground we had people setting flags and banners and things like this, all things up for the Cup, which we'd never get before. We've never had that in the past, And there was a lot of excitement around the ground. People were down there very early waiting to go in. It was full to the rafters, and there's a set of trees all at the back of the stand, and people were up in the trees, hanging from the trees. There was some on the pylons or the floodlights. They'd put bales of straw around the inside in front of the stands, and people were sat on bales of straw. They were everywhere.
For the Hereford players, it was a chance for one moment of glory. They'd already played Newcastle away and managed to get a thrilling draw. But ahead of the replay, the dressing room was on edge. Winger Ricky George was then 25 and a part-time salesman.
It would be ridiculous to say we weren't nervous because I remember the dressing room before the game and it was very, very quiet. There wasn't a lot of banter. Normally, you'd have a few players, and I think I was regarded as one of those that would be chatting all the time before you went out and making the players laugh, just to relieve the tension. But I remember that day at Newcastle, it was very quiet.
Player-manager Colin Addison left Ricky George on the bench. Like the fans, he watched nervously as Newcastle's superstar striker Malcolm MacDonald got a host of chances.
And MacDonald's in space now and he's onside. There's a chance here for MacDonald. The defenders are running back and he's missed it.
Eventually, Supermac hit the back of the net.
MacDonald coming in. That's it. 8 minutes from the end. Newcastle break the deadlock. They've held out for so long.
Newcastle are a very good side, and there was always that feeling Newcastle are going to score and we're going to go out. But the lads fought and did ever so well. But eventually, Mr. MacDonald got his goal and they went in front.
Ricky George came off the bench with only 10 minutes to go to try and help save the game. He won the ball and it eventually came to part-time carpenter Ronnie Radford.
I could see from where I was out on the left that Ronnie was going to shoot. And I can tell you to this day, and if I'm watching a football match and somebody shapes to shoot from 30, 35 yards, you think to yourself, no, don't do that. Don't do that, because that's not going to go in. And I thought, no, what's Ronnie doing? Christ, he's surely not going to shoot from there. And of course, he whacked it, and like an arrow, it flew into the top corner of the net.
Radford again. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! Radford the scorer! Ronnie Radford! And the crowd The crowd are invading the pitch, and now it will take some time to clear the field.
I was sat on a bale of straw. It was an absolutely fantastic shot, and I ran on the pitch, and I shouldn't have done it. I was in uniform, but the crowd all ran on behind me, and now I realised what I was doing, turned round and then, come on, you lot, and they scored them back off the pitch. But there was so much excitement, the pitch that was covered in fans.
Of course, Ronnie was engulfed. Before I could get to him, or the players, the crowd had got to him, and he was being mobbed. I will love Ronnie Radford till the day I die, because his goal gave me another half an hour.
The wonder goal took the match into extra time and gave substitute Ricky George the chance of his career. In the brief team huddle, the Hereford manager urged his players on. There may have been a minute before we actually kicked off again, but Colin said, look, we've knocked the stuffing out of them now. Look, we've drawn with them at Newcastle, we've played 90 minutes and we've drawn with them again. Obviously, we know that we can do this. The part-timers were now full of confidence, running Newcastle ragged on a pitch which had become a quagmire. Then Ricky George got the ball on the edge of the box. It's almost in slow motion as I think about it now. It flew at me, straight at me, on the deck, but it came very, very hard. I controlled it with my right foot, turned into the penalty area. And, you think to yourself, just experience that you're going to get tackled. But incredibly, as I turned, no tackle came. So I had that space, so I whacked it as hard as I could. As I struck it, I just looked up and I thought to myself, where's the keeper? You'd expect him to perhaps dive out, pick it up or something, but no, he didn't seem to be there. And it flew into the corner, hit the bottom of the net, and again, bedlam.
He's got it! Ricky George! Ricky George has done it! What a moment for Hereford!
And I'm on again, and this time my helmet's in the air. And I caught it and realised, hello, I'm not only a fan, but I'm a policeman on duty here. But I tell you what, it was absolutely euphoria. Then it's nail-biting time now for the last few minutes. And Mr McDonald then goes and hits the woodwork a couple of times, but our luck survives.
He must blow any second. It's all over, they've done it!
I think I stayed on till duty till about 10 o'clock at night. And
what was Hereford like in the evening? It must have been unbelievable celebration in the town.
Hereford was absolutely buzzing that night. The pubs were buzzing and everything. There was so much excitement. There was a few drunks around, I can tell you.
Hereford lost in the next round, but their cup victory over Newcastle is still fondly remembered 40 years on. And for Ricky George, it's the highlight of a career which never quite fulfilled his dreams.
I'd spent by then 10 years as a professional footballer, and most of it had been in abject misery, going from one club to another and not succeeding, not fulfilling any ambitions at all, not fulfilling what potential I thought I had, and that somebody had said, well, we'll give him this moment, this will be his moment to remember, and that will banish all the other bits of this career which really had gone so wrong. And I thought, this is my moment, this is what I've been given, and that's it.
Ricky George is still working as a businessman and sports writer. Policeman Grenville Smith is now a director at Hereford United.
Simon Watts reporting. For details of our complete range of podcasts and our terms of use, go to bbcworldservice.com/podcasts.